You know, I heard some people talking about the poor voter turnout for these midterm primaries. And I just can't help but think, like, well, what do you expect? If your people are constantly being told day in and day out by their family, by teachers, by politicians, by activists, if you're constantly being told time in and time out that this system is set up for you to fail, this system is set up for white people or wealthy people to prosper, and is designed to sabotage everyone else, how can you tell people that and then wonder why they don't get involved, why they don't vote? Why should they vote? You basically told them their vote is worthless. Why should they try to be better? You've basically told them that no matter what they do, they're destined to fail. Like, you're also telling people that it's okay. If something happens to you, if you fail, it's because you weren't intended to succeed. And you discourage people from looking within themselves and taking on whatever issues that they may have that may be hindering them from growing. Like the system, you got two components to the system. You know, you could say let's go with that. You got two. You got the system, and you have the person who deals with the system. So, okay, there's three parts, and you have the people that work in the system. You have the system, which is a structure. The system is a structure or an organization, but it's operated by people. It's implemented by people. So you got to stop thinking of the system as some abstract thing. It's people. So if you want the system to change, what people do you want to change? And not people in a general sense, like white people or rich people or dark-skinned people or men or women. No, I'm talking about specifically, this is the problem within the system. Who are the ones specifically that we can call out by name and have evidence that they are perpetuating this discrimination or oppression or whatever? You have to identify the actors and work to get them removed. All right, that's how you deal with systemic oppression. Like, that's how you deal with it. You can't just have this generic idea and you don't have no specific things that can actually be implemented, because it's people. Judges make the decisions. Police officers enact the law and they interpret the law. It's people. It's not just some abstract thing. Now, the other aspect is, so you got the structure, you have the people that implement it or enforce it, depending on how you look at it. But then you have the suspect, or you have the victim. You have you who has to deal with the system. And what we have to do is, the worse the system is, the more corrupt you believe the system to be, the more you have to control yourself. There are things that's going to be that's outside of your control. If the odds are against you with those things, you have to be all the more focused on not putting yourself in that situation. And the reason why I say this is because we're so quick to defend people who killed cops. We're so quick to defend people who robbed people, who sold drugs, all kind of other things. Okay, they got, according to you, they got themselves in a terrible system. Did they have a choice? So, yeah, we want the system to change. But did that person have a choice? It's like, I don't know, it's like picking with someone, like bullying someone, right? So let's say I bully somebody, and I just pick with them every day. My neighbor, I bully him. Let's say he's psycho, and then one day he kills me. He just shoots me or something, right? Because he's tired of it, but he don't want to fight. Did I have a choice in that matter? Now, it's not. He doesn't have the right to just kill me because I bully him. You can't just go around killing people because they make you mad. But did I have a level of control in this? I did. And far too often, we see people who put themselves in bad situations by committing crimes or being ignorant or not knowing the law or whatever. And we ignore their part in it, and we just want to focus on the system. If you want things to genuinely want things to change, you have to deal with reality. You have to deal with things openly and honestly. The system has issues. The people who get themselves involved with the system has issues. Come on, let's be realistic. It's very rare. It's a small minority of people who get dealt a bad hand and they get like the corrupt cop and then the judge and all of this. Most people have their interactions with the system because of their choices. So your choices is more powerful than the system, because you can control yourself. You can't control the system. You can control yourself. You can't look at somebody that fights a cop or taunts a cop or refuses to comply with lawful orders of a cop, and then you think, notice I said think, because a lot of times y'all don't even understand the law and what force is allowed, but you think this person was treated unfairly by the cop, and you completely ignore the person's role in it. That don't make it okay for a cop to beat you if you're, cuss at him, or for example, your people aren't allowed to sin or break the law because you sin. But if your sin leads to someone else's sin, acknowledge your sin. You know what I mean? So I'm gonna give you an example, and I'm gonna leave with this. The singer Brandy. I remember Brandy had this big scandal years ago she supposedly got married and she had a kid, and she came out with a CD, and the CD was basically putting him on blast for cheating on her, and she's talking about, I had to take the ring off and all of this stuff. Well, he went out and he started telling the media like we weren't really married, so we pretended to be married so that her family was Christian, and we didn't, for the sake of image, we weren't really married. So I remember this. Now, I don't know how I watched it. I probably watched it just because she was on there, but it was on Wendy Williams. I don't watch Wendy Williams. I don't, but, Brandy was my girl. Wendy Williams asked Brandy, how do you feel about him putting your business out there that y'all lied about being married? You know what Brandy said? Brandy said, when I heard him doing that, I didn't say anything to him. I could not get mad at him because I'm the one that initiated putting our business out there. So she's saying he's a bad husband. And then he was like, I wasn't a husband. And I, looking back now, I thought that was deep. I'm like, that's what's up. Like, you owning up to yourself. But now looking back and seeing how the culture likes to make victims out of everybody, I can appreciate that mentality even more. She's flat out said, she's like, I'm the one that put it out there. I started it. So, and it's the same thing with anything. If you step out of line, regardless of what it is, if you step out of line, you have to be prepared to deal with the consequences, because you don't know if that person you're offending, or that system, that judge, that cop, that teacher, you don't know what they're going to do. You can't control them. And if you step out of line, you really can't dictate to them that they ought not step out of line. And people say, oh, you can't say that because there's different expectations, higher expectations, blah, 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 blah. We're all freaking humans. And if you're going to step out of line, if you make the choice to step out of line, just be willing to deal with the consequences. So if you have that mentality, you are very most likely not going to have any interactions that you get, jammed up in. Some you can, some, it's possible. Bad stuff happens to good people. But you have so much control over your actions, where you are, who you're around, how you interact with people, You have so much control over that. You can prevent yourself so much headache, so much pain by just acknowledging the power of choice that you have. And choice is a power. Choice is a power. Like if Starbucks, if Starbucks doesn't like black people, you know how much power you have? Like, you don't have to go there with a bullhorn and protesting and begging them to serve you coffee. You have the power of choice to where you can say, I will no longer give Starbucks my X amount of money every day. And you and your friends, your family, and all the people who agree with you, you have the power of choice to where you can take all of y'all, can go somewhere else and say, hey, this other place treats us with respect, so I am not giving Starbucks any more of my money, and their pockets is going to hurt. That is power. Like, people don't think so. People tend to think of power as force. I'm powerful if I can force you to do something, if I can force you to respect me, if I can force you to apologize, if I can force you to treat me right. You can't really force nobody to respect you, first of all. But that's how people tend to view power. Power isn't always force. Power is choice as well. And we only focus on the force aspect, such as changing the system and maybe getting someone out of office. We don't focus on the choice aspect as much as we need to. And it's getting dark, so I'm gonna go in the house. But I hope I made some sense to y'all. Please like, subscribe, comment.